Gang to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show with Pat. What's my rate? McMasters and the dynamic duo of Jackie and Ruby back for another appearance. How is everybody?
Doing
Good.
good.
How about you?
I can't complain. I
Hi guys. Sorry, I'm
I
a little delayed.
I I turned old yesterday, so
Oh,
Oh,
yesterday
your
was
birthday
a
was
day.
yesterday.
yesterday
Oh, I thought it was actually Saturday.
no Saturday. See, at my age, you have a birthday and then you get ready to have a party.
That's what I'm doing next week.
Yeah. So
Well, happy birthday.
thank you. I had a doctor appointment yesterday morning. I went in and I said, "Today's my birthday," and he goes, "Oh, congratulations!" I go, "Yeah, I'm not a day over 70 until tomorrow." So,
Honestly, you look really good, Rick.
You
well, let me show
do.
you my X-rays. So, well, look, I thought it'd be fun to get together because it's prediction season. You see it on Facebook, you see it on YouTube. You know what's next year going to be like. So I thought we'd all get in here and spit out our less than expert opinions because actually we're just as close as everybody else. I'm not going to go out the entire year, but I'm going to ask each of you kind of where you think we're going to head. But I'm going to tee up first where the big guys say we're headed for the year, and you can see right here you got the highest one is 4.3%, which is Housing Wire, and then the lowest is MBA 1.5. The big Zillow comes in at 2.8. Now, buying a house or selling a house, it really shouldn't matter whether you're up 3, 4, and down 2. But it just makes good sport to kind of spit those numbers out anyway. And then we're going to talk a little bit about rates because that's all over the map too. Here's an interesting article. It says the 10-year heads back to 4%, but then it's 5% higher for 2025. So we can find just about anything out there that says, I think it's going to be a great year. I think it's going to be a rough year. And I'm going to click a button here and see where this takes me. And it's not letting me do what I want to do. So bear with me here. There's everybody. So, Jackie, looking ahead to 2025, it was really slow this year, yet home prices still went up nationally 4%. We're about the same here in Arizona. It was painfully slow with 7-day moving average being about 2,400 contracts a week. Where do you think next year's going to be? Are we going to be busier, slower, the same? What do you think?
Well, I don't think we can be any slower. I believe our sales were the lowest since is it 1980, 1995, 1994, somewhere around that
Yeah.
time. So decades. I mean, we're decades since we've been this low. Um, I'm getting kind of a mixture with the people I'm talking to right now. So I've got several people, new listings coming on that I'm aware of. And then so for the people that don't know, I took almost 10 months off because of my surgeries. So I kind of sat back and watched the market, but wasn't in it day to day like I normally am. Now, in the recent few weeks, I've been talking to clients again, and I still think and the feeling that I'm getting is there's still a sideline of people that are waiting. There's so many people that Ruby and I had that got beat out of offers and ended up signing leases. They've signed renewals on those leases time after time now, that because they just couldn't buy a house. So a huge factor is going to be interest rates. Now, I think between the interest rates, everything going on with the elections, all the other noise that was out there as well, it just kind of brought us to a standstill. I mean, nobody was doing anything whatsoever. So it's going to do nothing but go up. It's all going to depend on rates. Now, from what I'm seeing is I think if we can get, that barrier used to be 6% or below. I think if we could just stay in the low sixes and not be bouncing all over the place, I think that volatility is what scares people. You go under contract and it's like your interest rates could change in the matter of days to where it knocks you right back out and you can't qualify while you're in the process of trying to buy the home. That's super scary. Who wants to go through that?
Well,
So
uncertainty, you're right, kills the market. It's just give me a number that I can depend on and stick with, and I can work my way through it.
right. So I think if we get down into the low sixes and we stay there and we have some stability to the market, I think that's going to help to boost sales. And the good thing is now we've got the inventory. So, it might be a nice normal market this next year, which would be fantastic.
Well, do you think we'll still be experiencing some appreciation on house values?
I do. I don't see that ceasing. And the reason I don't see that is because of the jobs that we have coming to the area. So I do think we're going to get a decline in rents because we've had so many big apartment complexes. I mean, you drive down the freeway, you see cranes everywhere with all the big apartment complexes that are being built. And a lot of those are luxury. I mean, some of these apartments are $4,000 and $5,000 a month. It's just like crazy. Like, who wants to pay $4,000 to $5,000 a month to a landlord? I don't understand that, but it is what it is. So I do think our rents are going to come down because we're seeing a lot of rents, a lot of apartment complexes being built on the west side too. But I do see appreciation, but my numbers are actually what I'm anticipating. I think we're going to be around 5 or 6%.
Well, I'm not going to dive into a lot of current data right now, just because when you get between Thanksgiving and Christmas, it means nothing.
Right.
It's a mess. And so you kind of wait and see what January is going to bring. So I'm going to tee you up, Ruby, and say, what do you think? Do you concur? Do you see anything that you think is going to slow us down more, speed us up more?
I mean, Jackie pretty much summed it all up for us. So, I mean, I see that.
Come on, disagree with her.
I do agree with Jackie. So we work very well together. No, really though. I do see that we do have a lot of listings on the market right now. We have both Jackie and I have upcoming listings that we're working on. So I have quite a few buyers that I'm working with. I've worked really hard this year. I put in a lot of extra hours this year. And I think a lot of it for us as agents, just staying in front of people, staying in communication with them, walking them through the process, and, not the fear of buying a house, the fear of the interest rates being too high. Because realistically, if, like Jackie was saying, if you think about it, used to be 7% or under was a great interest rate. However, our pricing the house pricing is much higher now. So that does make a difference there. But I think in the long run, people are going to start coming back out and wanting to buy houses this next year. I don't think it's going to be slower. Honestly, I really don't think we're going to have another slow year. I think it's going to start picking up.
Okay. Well, Pat, I don't see anything that says rates are going to spike one way or the other for the entire year. There's always surprises. I'm looking and seeing that, I'm complaining about our debt being 124% of gross domestic product, higher than it's been even in the 1940s. But then you go across the ocean and China's debt to GDP is 300. And they've announced that they're going to do their own stimulus program. And I'm wondering, how are they going to do that?
Yeah.
European banks are now lowering their rates. So is that going to apply more pressure for us to follow suit, or are we going to risk more inflation if rates go down? Because the bond traders are not agreeing with seeing rates coming down for the year.
Yeah. Everything has been it's been a very somewhat of a quietly schizophrenic market.
That's the perfect word.
Quietly schizophrenic. Yeah. Because, the numbers are based on, but I agree with Jackie also. Everybody wants, we're in the prediction time right now. And obviously you could probably get, somebody's going to get some clicks for having a wild prediction, but I don't see anything. I agree with you there. I don't see anything in the near future that's going to see us go crazily up or crazily down. I think Trump may loosen up some restrictions. I think the overall, we get through this Trump, getting a feel of what he's going to do. I think you're going to see people coming out of the woodwork. You see those predictions anywhere from 0 gain to 10%. You're probably going to see 2 or 3%. Who knows? But quite frankly, is that bad? It's not bad for buyers or sellers. if we have a schizophrenic market either way, it's bad for one party or the other. So if you look at this balanced market, it's kind of, if you cut the middle, it's not bad for either buyers or sellers. Would you disagree?
I hear something going on in the background there somewhere.
I am so sorry, you guys. Our
Is it
Christmas
the
party was today, and everybody's still out there.
Hey, Pat, were you invited to the Christmas
No,
party?
I wasn't. No.
I wasn't.
It's our Century 21 office party, but you can mute me if you want to.
Yeah.
You can mute you too, I think.
Avoid
I still love the schizophrenic comment.
I
I'm
do.
stealing that, Pat.
too.
Well, I mean,
It
No,
would
I-
make a great thumbnail,
it's-
Rick, to get
I think-
views.
yeah, we're gonna have to do
schizophrenic
two.
market.
Arizona
I think-
Schizo real estate. I'm going to throw a little bit of a monkey wrench into the first quarter for you, though. When
Okay,
I
well, let me continue though. I mean, I think overall, like I said, my prediction, I think Trump's going to loosen some things up. I mean, I think I don't see prices are going to remain the same. We're still kind of seeing the residue of COVID. I think we've seen the top in rates the last year. I mean, you start getting rates in the low sevens, mid sevens, people cool off. I agree. If we can get rates high fives, low sixes, and keep it in that range. I mean, we have been stuck in a kind of a channel since about, if I look at this, if you look at my chart here, pull it over. Well, I didn't share, did I?
No, you didn't. So
I didn't.
you're just.
Well, basically,
you're
we've been
failing
I'll just say we've been in a channel since October of 22. The last 2 years, we've been kind of stuck in this channel of low sixes, low sevens, mid sevens, kind of in that range. So, I mean, you look at the shelter costs have kind of come down, the rental. So I don't know. I mean, I see if we can get some steadiness in the bond market, I think that's going to be your biggest gains is people can see some buying power with rates. I'd love to see them in the mid to high fives and just right around that range. I mean, but I'm concerned about the debt. I mean, I just don't, I'm going to lay a simple claim out there though. I mean, I think, correct me if I'm economically wrong, we can't see rates get wildly out of hand. Obviously, I know bond investors want a higher interest rate to obviously compensate for the risk, but we've got $35 trillion that we've got to finance. And I mean, you have about $10 trillion from what I read, $10 trillion that's financed on a short-term basis. So they're going to have to do something about shifting that yield curve.
Yeah, you and I discussed this a little bit the other day, and it's maddening to see that our debt was financed over short term. Janet Yellen was saying, I mean, she was out there saying, you guys got to be borrowing money because it's free. I mean, It's never been this cheap. It's free. And now 6 weeks before she leaves office, she says, yeah, we got to do something about this. Our debt's out of control.
She's an idiot.
And I'm thinking, all right, welcome to the party. But what that means is that there's $10 trillion in short term. So let's say I got a credit card that's 2.5%, and it's only 2.5% for another 18 months. And then I'm going to have to take that balance, put it on a new credit card that's 2 to 3 times that.
Mm-hmm.
And we already are paying $1 trillion in debt now. That's going to explode. And so that's going to make the Treasury again to have to sell more bonds to finance the debt. And the investors are going to want a pretty hefty return. So that's what's hard to look out on the interest rate environment and say, oh yeah, things are going to really ease up next year. I don't know if, so if rates go down to 6s, does that mean home prices will go up? That depends. I'd say they'll probably stay where they're at because we're in the high 6s now. And so if we go down to low 6s, I don't see any depreciation. I think we'll steady out. I think it all boils down to this. And this was easy to predict that listings were going to come down. I was surprised they didn't start coming down here, but they're doing what they seasonally will do. So we'll end up about here, which is about 19,000 as we approach January. Here's what I think for the first quarter, and jump in. This number's going to continue to go up, and it's going to continue to go up at the same rate that it was last year, at about 200 to 300 homes per week, which will put us about up here by February. 24 to 26,000, which is not alarming. It's 27,000 is considered normal. But I think, and I say that because there's no catalyst to increase our buyer pool. Our buyer pool is still running about 2,500 every 7 days.
Mhm.
Everybody gets optimistic in January and says, it's a new year. Let's go. Let's list the house. Go, baby, go. They put the house on the market. The buyers right now are going, not yet.
Yep.
Something's got to pop. I either got to have prices come down or rates have to come down. So I'm still going to wait. Yes, we're past the election. Great. Everybody's talking stuff. They're going to loosen up regulation, which I don't think is going to mean diddly or squat. And, but there's no catalyst that says, okay, I'm in January. And then we're going to see the lowest amount of price reductions in February because the people listed in January. So what happened? Where's the buyers? I think from January to March, I think we'll see our first decline in average sales prices of about 1%. And I think it's going to be way slower than anybody anticipates. Now, going forward from that, we'll start to smooth out a little bit. We may get some relief in rates and we'll have a lot of inventory for people to look at, and rates are going to be a little more favorable if everything goes according to plan. Then I think this wave will start showing up, but I think gradually to where the year, I think it's going to be only slightly better in volume than what we had this year and more flat in prices. That's just,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I've got-
I think you're pretty, I mean, I agree with you, spot on. I concur. As Leonardo DiCaprio said in The Doctor, I concur. But no, I mean, I think, nothing's going to, I think, well, I tell you what, I mean, in terms of buyers, I mean, just if I was a buyer, obviously a lot of buyers, they see agents like maybe Jacquie, Ruby, you trying to push, oh, you got to buy, you got to buy, you got to buy. We've always been trying to give some, some neutral advice, unbiased advice, but certainly this is a better environment. If you're in a position, you got everything kind of controlled financially in your household and you are looking to buy, I'd rather be buying now than I did in the COVID years when you had 15 or 20 different offers on a house.
Oh,
I mean, that's
that
just,
was schizophrenic.
That's it. That's schizophrenic. And that's why if you are looking at, I mean, whether you're in a position, is it a good time to buy? Basically, I tell everybody when I was a stockbroker, now, when's a good time to buy a stock is when you got money, just basically, and you're in a position, nobody can time it. But I think I just overall, I think you're going to get some concessions from sellers, the buyers, you got more inventory. So, certainly this is not a bad time to be if you are in a position. I think that's.
Well, let's segues into the question that we have here from YouTube, which is, look at that. YouTube is actually asking us questions.
Yeah.
So I got, what do you recommend for cash buyers? Wait till spring or summer? And I think it goes back to what Pat just said. I mean, look, we're looking at predictions of up 4% and only up 1.5. What does that mean in the scheme of things for what you're looking for? And also, what price point?
There's not one number on that chart that if I was a buyer say, oh my God, I got to buy it because of that number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't see a negative.
I mean, you can always look at any number and say, it's a personal choice, and you just have to, I think you and I and us here on the channel are just trying to present what does the environment look like? What do you face right now? What's out there? Because the average person does not really day to day. They don't know. They hear from Uncle Jim and Aunt Ruth and what they're doing and whatnot. But we're just trying to give a typical a shot of what's out there in terms of date.
And here's the contract ratio, Pat. And so I was trying to make it bigger here. I almost kicked us all off the show. We're in what's called the cold market, right on the edge right there. And we've been there a couple times. So is it going to continue to go down further? It's going to take a jolt to the system to make that happen, some kind of banking crisis. I don't see us being cold from 2006 to 2009 again, 3 years. I see us chilling a little bit in January. But it's That's kind of the market that we're in right now. So if you're looking at it from a chart basis and saying, how's the market? It's getting chilly.
Yeah.
How much lower can it get? Not much.
I think
No.
there's one other thing too, which everybody always starts the new year with that, and maybe it's not a way to judge the market, but hope. And
Yeah.
I think that's what we saw for a little bit after the election was finally over. Not necessarily because of who won. I'm not going to get political on air ever, but it's just that the madness was over. So there was a relief and some hope. And the beginning of the year always brings some hope. So I think it's going to really depend on how much volatility is in the market, how much volatility. Here's something I was thinking about today. So I've been doing this 35 years as of August, which makes me feel really super old. I have seen the markets up and down, up and down, up and down over the years, right? I started in 89. We all know how the market was then. What happened though, and this is something I noticed during the great financial crash, and this was the first time I noticed it. The market used to always move very slow. Real estate always moved slow. And then when the great financial crisis happened, the one thing that really took me by surprise, and people will say it was a slow domino effect, but not really. It was building slowly, but when the cards fell, it spread like wildfire as far as what people felt, the atmosphere in the market. And that came with the internet and instant news, and we're bombarded with all this information all the time and all this negativity, and it's like even on YouTube it's like negative, and it has an effect on the market, and it seems like it speeds the market up faster. So it's harder to me to predict the market now looking at charts because we can't guess on what negativity is around the corner.
Yeah.
So Harold, what's going to pull prices down 50% in the next year or two is my question. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, what do you think is going to do that? And YouTube is back, and he's ignoring all the other YouTube channels, which is great. They've got millions and millions of people on here. So I appreciate YouTube being here with us. I guess worrying about timing the market, I should just worry about scorpion hotspots and flight path noises from airport and train noises if I'm looking Gilbert. Flight path, yes. Scorpions are hard to guess. They can be a house by house thing. And if you do find them, you can get rid of them.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of scorpion fear talk people out of a house. I've lived here since 96. I've lived several locations in the valley. I've seen 2 scorpions. YouTube says, I'm scared of the water situation over there. My biggest fear is the irony out in the Los Angeles area. Our water's okay. I've done a lot of research on our water, talked to a lot of industry people, and we have more than 100-year supply out there, and it's not a bad situation. Now expanding out, they're not going to let people put in these developments if they can't guarantee 100-year supply of water, and they're watching it very closely, and it doesn't look like we're going to be in trouble. And you're from the Los Angeles area, that's a whole different ball game out there.
Yeah.
So, but I think, so you talk about, well, what kind of things could rattle the market? You'll go nuts trying to figure that out. I think our like tariffs, that doesn't bother me in the slightest because we've seen that movie before. China's already hunkering down, getting prepared for some kind of tariffs. And that usually ends up being a problem for maybe 2-3 months until the political signal's been made, right? Okay, I'll relent. So that doesn't, but it's the debt.
Yeah.
If bond traders feel that this administration is finally going to be serious about lowering our debt, then I think you'll see some relief in rates. But if they give us too much relief in rates, it's not out of the question to see inflation come back and housing go up.
Right.
What do you think, Ruby?
Well, I just don't think that. I really just think the prediction part of it, we really just don't know what this next year is going to bring. And I think you're right as far as the political goes. People were fearful, and there is a sigh of relief just to have that whole political thing over. And people are just the prices are not going to drop and plummet like some may fear. That's just not. I don't really see that's going to happen. There's too many checks and balances now. So I think we're just going to move along and it slowly increase over the next year.
Yeah, Pat, aren't the stats that 40% of the current homeowners, not right now, are don't have a mortgage?
Yeah, it's at 30. It's probably about that number. I mean, I'm just astounded. Like I said, looking back, going through the MLS, looking where I was, because I was there at 05, 06. There's, I'd say 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 people were, leveraged to the hilt, buying 100% loan to value loans, 80-20 loans, doing 100% financing with 520 FICO scores, 530, 540. I'm going through the MLS. I'm amazed. I'm literally astonished at how many people, have paid cash in the, $700,000, $800,000, $900,000, $1 million, $1.5 million range. Yeah, I don't think you saw that. I going back in 05, 06, I didn't hear as many people paying cash like they did, like they are. And a lot of people have their homes paid off. There's equity. So even if we saw rates, whatever they do, I mean, the present homeowners have got built in a lot of equity. Now, if your house went from 500,000 down, like my house, if it went from say 600,000 down to 450, I'm still there. It's not going to affect the present homeowners. Whatever's going to happen is going to affect the potential buyers.
It's going to affect the buying side, yeah.
Because buying side, but the supply side, if you think about it, is, I mean, maybe I'm kind of coming as it's coming to me. It's kind of locked in, so to speak. People have got their mortgage or they got their house paid for cash. So that you don't have, I heard so many stories where people had 3 or 4 homes. I had a buddy of mine that had 5 homes. He just let them all go. Boom.
Yeah.
I'm done. 5 homes in one rip. So you had a lot of that going on 05 or 07, 08, 09, 10. So
well, here's an interesting stat. Looking at asking prices for the year for 2024, from the beginning of the year to today, in anything under $1 million, we started out at, well, I don't have the actual number in front of me, but I have the difference. The difference between the first of the year and this period right now, 71 cents.
I believe it.
It's a straight line. Now you get over, you put in the $1 million mark, and it's still going up, and the luxury market just took off this past month. Look at that price per square foot. Now that's only 28 sales, so it can really move the market, right? Then you go down under $1 million, and we still went up 283 to 296. So the stress is not showing up yet. Harold said we had centipedes here in Hawaii. I just keep looking for people who need to sell houses, sell house hacks, Sierra Vista. So Sierra Vista has scorpions too. Well, we don't have centipedes, but there's no, you've got to see the average sales price start to come down in order for people to feel like they got to do something. Mm-hmm. And if 40% of them don't have to do anything. Now there is a 30% delinquency rate in credit cards. That's ominous. Mm-hmm. Car loans, people are hurting, but the house in the total in the housing market, it's going to take a lot of downward movement on average sales prices that get to a point where the sellers go, oh man, I got to get out now. And then you see panic. Mm-hmm. And when I look at those other charts, I don't see any indications of panic.
Well, that's why you saw the like what Jackie was saying in 08, 09, you just saw this. It was just a tidal wave. One thing, this guy was selling 5 homes. He's got to sell 5 homes. I've got there was this downward trend that just kept piling like a snowball.
We had like 56,000 listings in the valley.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I just do not, I can, till the cows come home, I just do not see anything in the next year that's going to just, like you said, the treasury, the debt's got issues, but that you have to separate the buying and the selling side of it to really, what's going to cause, what problem is it, what side of it's going to, cause a problem for.
Well, just to circle back to your beginning point, up 1, down 3, up 4, shouldn't make a difference if you're looking at buying or selling this year. It all boils down to your personal affordability, what you're looking for, and if the time is right. And it is much easier to get a home now when it comes to being able to look at it, go home and talk about it. But you also have to understand, in above $1 million, they have no reason to accept your low ball offer because they're selling.
Yep.
They're not under pricing pressure. People look at that and go, "Oh, yeah, I can get them down $500,000." Probably not.
Yeah,
probably not. They don't have, statistically, they don't have to. We just showed that. So that's going to be interesting. So I think going into January, the thing that I'm going to look for is just how much listings start to spike. Now, the sales numbers in January are going to look bad because those contracts were written when? In December.
Yep.
So the average sales transaction, that chart's going to go down. It's going to confuse some people, but I want to see what happens with listings. How many people now are saying, I'm waiting to put my house on the first of the year? I think it's a pretty big number. We had 775 expireds this month. We have 680 canceled. That's 1,300 homes that might all of a sudden just show back up in January. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. So, and we will check in with everybody here when we see it. And thank you everybody for being on. We might be on as a group before Christmas one more time, but odds are probably not. Just because Pat hasn't finished his shopping and we got
next week's my birthday.
Next week's your birthday. So are you going to be 72?
I'm going to be 53.
Oh, okay. All right.
Show off.
I'm proudly 53.
Well,
Show
you should
off.
be. That's a great age. So
It is a great age.
Hi, YouTube. That's my other favorite YouTube. You got competition here. You got YouTube and you got YouTube. So I don't know. This is going to get confusing here. So, but well, shoot. I know you guys are all going to help me celebrate my birthday on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all and meet family and all that stuff. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
So,
be fun.
everybody have a great weekend. I will see you again soon. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.